Special thank you to Atlas VPN for sponsoring this video. She-Ra, as most of you know, was originally derived from He-Man in 1984, first appearing in a mini-comic. This comic is actually also the first appearance of Catra along with several other characters. Now, what a lot of you may not know is that during the 80s, making toys was very much a slap-together process. He-Man was created solely just to sell toys, because everyone knows that the money is in the merchandise, and making a TV show, cheaply animated TV show, not only works as advertisement for those toys, but also works to contextualize the toys so that kids can form stronger attachments to the characters. And She-Ra was created in order to appeal to girls, since He-Man was so appealing to boys, they wanted to reach into the girl demographic. And some of you may know that the 80s show of He-Man was very weird, and that's all for very good reason. They were often creating the show very quickly. Sometimes a new episode would have to be made in as little as 2 weeks. And not only that, but remember, people were a lot more paranoid during the 80s, and that's saying something. There was a scene of He-Man uprooting a tree, and they'd have to cut it out when it went into review, because the notes came back saying that they had to cut it out because they were afraid children may emulate He-Man uprooting a tree. But now, time to pay the bills. Do you know how convenient a VPN service is? I know my way around the internet, but that's only because I took several years of programming classes and a lot of my friends are computer science majors. So when I see people who are dabbling into the deeper part of the interwebs and they make a lot of mistakes, it hurts me inside. And a way you can easily avoid that is just by using a VPN service. Atlas VPN has a data breach feature that will notify you if any of your personal information has been compromised. It encrypts your traffic in order to prevent you from getting spyware or people knowing your location. You just click where you want and suddenly you're in an entirely different part of the world according to everyone else online. You can use my link to get Atlas VPN for $1.39 a month for 3 years. And if you don't like it, there is a 30-day money-back guarantee. But if that's not convincing enough for you, different parts of the world have different streaming services. Do you hate it when a show is released weekly in another part of the world, but for us in America, we have to wait until it's all completely released in order for it to be all dropped at once? Like with Shaman King, if you use Atlas VPN, you can just say, hey, I'm in Japan, and then you can use the Japanese Netflix service. It is a great tool if you don't want your technology listening to you, or if you're like me and you don't want people finding out where you live. Click the link below to get Atlas VPN for $1.39 a month for 3 years. In a documentary called The Power of Grayskull, they go into much deeper context around this time period, and I seriously recommend watching this even if you aren't into He-Man, because I'm certainly not into He-Man, but this was just a fantastic documentary. And in this documentary, they go on to tell just how slapped together some toys were. Battle Cat was literally just a tiger from a different playset that they painted green and added a saddle to. She-Ra made her first appearance in the movie Secret of the Sword, where it actually has a lot of the same setup as the Netflix series. Adora works for the bad guys in a high-ranking position, only to eventually find out that she is the twin sister of He-Man. However, none of this is actually relevant to the Netflix series because the Netflix series takes place in its own universe. So if you watch the Netflix series and you wanted to catch up on the lore of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, well, Masters of the Universe isn't actually tied to She-Ra in this series. And technically She-Ra in this series is an entirely separate character from the bigger Masters of the Universe. I just wanted to lay down the groundwork of who She-Ra is and her character prior to the Netflix series so that you understand her origin and, you know, what she was used for. Actually, the toy industry during the 80s is an incredibly interesting topic, but that's a video for another day. In 2018, She-Ra was given her own series on Netflix that repopularized the character, utilizing several aspects of her character from the Masters of the Universe series as the foundation, and then changing her as deemed necessary to appeal to a new audience, making it not only a fresh and appealing show for newcomers, but also familiar for longtime fans. Adora and Catra both work under Hordak, and apparently Hordak has convinced them all that princesses are evil and need to be eradicated. Totally not to brainwash them to take over their kingdom. That'd be ridiculous.
Pulling such childish, immature... Is that a mouse? What? Where?
This is Shadow Weaver, who is basically their mom boss, and everyone is upset with Catra because she's the flunky, while Adora is a top model student.
And Catra, all she wants is to get out there and prove herself.
Then she should have worked harder to prove herself to me.
And this is the big, evil, scary princesses they talk about, who is also at the head of the war. I guess even princesses are child soldiers. Maybe they are the bad guys. Adora has to break the news that she's being promoted and deployed while Catra is being left in the academy, and oh boy is she upset and jealous, mostly jealous. This aspect of She-Ra is interesting, where Adora and Catra are essentially the adopted daughters of Shadow Weaver, setting up a fun, abusive relationship. They want to do some sisterly bonding, but end up in some haunted woods. It doesn't go well. But she does find the super neat sword, and she hears a voice, and vision, and a hero's quest, and a weird woman. Catra finds her, so it's good. Back at the evil princess's place, we get to meet Bo, who is also a main character, but isn't important yet.
I was just trying to defend another one of our villages from falling into the Horde's clutches, but she acts like I can't do anything, because I'm just a princess.
That doesn't make any sense. Everyone here is a princess. I'm like the only one who's not a princess.
I am seriously hoping that Bo eventually becomes a princess. I doubt it will, but if it does, this show becomes immediately so much better. And Catra, oh my gosh, I know that Catra is a cat, but did they need to make her this adorable? Anyway, Adora is getting more visions, and Adora and the evil princess run into each other, and we have a little scuffle for the sword.
Hello, Adora. My name is Light Hope. I have been waiting a long time for you. The sword is meant for you. Etheria has need of you, Adora. Will you fight for the honor of Grayskull?
What are you talking about?
They capture Adora.
You know she's a princess, right? Princesses are a dangerous threat to everyone on Etheria. They're violent instigators who don't even know how to control their powers.
I know this isn't what happened, but part of me wants to believe that Stevenson got the idea to make princesses evil because they saw those artists who turned Disney princesses into villains, or just because it was like that in the original movie. I didn't watch the original movie, but that's far more likely, but I like my idea more. And they start showing Adora that the Horde is attacking innocent people and destroying their homes and poisoning their land. Adora has a second of reflection.
Are we the baddies?
And when they get attacked, Adora gets to pick up her super special sword and decides, you know what, I'll try saving them. But she doesn't know how to use the sword. I mean, it works itself out, though. It's all good. Visions, voices in her head, and...
The honor of Grayskull!
Oh man, she's a princess too? I didn't see that coming with the Horde making princesses the bad guys, and in her mind, that princesses are still the bad guys, so now she's gonna have this inner conflict, and oh, this was all created intentionally from the very beginning. It all makes so much sense now. This is all sarcasm.
What did you do to me? What do you mean, what did I do to you? I didn't know being a princess was contagious.
Cough in my face. I want to catch the princess too. Wait. Cough in Bo's face. They start running away because Adora still hasn't had any action on the field, and they find a special door that only Adora can read for some mysterious reason.
For the honor of Grayskull.
What are we doing?
Nothing!
The ruins are from the first ones, who appeared 1,000 years ago and left behind super advanced alien technology. Wow, what a strangely familiar glass mural. Adora needs answers to who she is, and Bo offers to bring them back to their home, and Shadow Weaver sends Catra to bring back Adora. And it gets a little dark for a hot minute there, and Adora gets to see what it's like, not under dictatorial rule, and she seems to like it.
What is that? It's majestic.
Adora is a horse girl confirmed. Hardcore horse girls, get her some Cerebella cards now. And the town gets attacked, and now she can see the Horde being evil.
Stop! Adora! Catra?
Oh, this is awkward.
We have to put a stop to this.
What? Why?
Look around! These aren't insurgents, they're innocent people!
Shadow Weaver is freaking out.
Not until the Horde leaves this town alone. You have to help me. They've been lying to us, manipulating us. Hordak, Shadow Weaver, all of them.
Duh! Did you just figure that out? Manipulation is Shadow Weaver's whole thing. She's been messing with our heads since we were kids. The two of us look out for each other. And soon we'll be the ones calling the shots.
I can't. Not after everything I've seen.
Are you kidding? You've known these people for what, a couple of hours? And now you're gonna throw everything away for them? What happened to you?
Oh my gosh, we have enemies to friends and friends to enemies? Are we going to get enemies to lovers? As if I haven't already seen the spoilers on Twitter. Adora does her magical girl warrior princess transformation and is ready to kick Horde butt. But we can't actually have her use the sword as a sword because that would mean making this inappropriate for children. Can't hit people, only block. Now, here's what I love about this. There's a common complaint about a hero having a destiny, because it kind of removes a lot of the agency from the character. It's not their choice to save people because it was destined. But what I like about what they did here is that Adora may or may not have a destiny. It wasn't explicitly said that she has a destiny, but let's operate under the assumption that she does. By having her defect from the enemy, it gives her a choice. There was agency in her choosing to defect from the enemy, and therefore, it gives her a little bit of character growth. If there has to be some sort of destiny, adding this little tidbit at the beginning really helps with how it justifies the addition of there being a destiny. She had to choose to pursue her destiny. The implementation of destinies is always tricky because it generally falls into lazy writing, but I feel this setup works pretty good. Back at Glimmer's house, Adora, hey, that stuffed animal is designed after Cowl from the original series. There's an Easter egg. I always appreciate Easter eggs. Adora is having trouble turning into She-Ra because, well, she doesn't know how. She does get her flying unicorn Pegasus horse. It's a little random, but hey, at least it's pretty. The horse freaks out. And honestly, can you blame the horse? If you were hit by a magic beam that made you change colors and grow extra limbs, I'd freak out too. And I would knock a lot of things over with my new wings, I'm just saying.
Horde soldier! Horde soldier!
She escapes and meets an old hag in the woods named Madame Raz, and she leads Adora to another ancient magic place. More visions of when she was a baby. Catra is going through a lot right now.
Once the princesses would have protected us. They stay in their castles, protecting only their own lands.
They get their horse back. Glimmer's mom is angry that she brought a Horde soldier inside, but She-Ra shows up and clears the air, so it's good. We're all good.
You would pledge to stand with us against those you once served. Then rise. The rebellion accepts your allegiance. She-Ra, Princess of Power.
She said it! That's the title of the show! There it is! Catra gets to meet Hordak. And Hordak tells Shadow Weaver to promote Catra and continue operations, and actually choose out Shadow Weaver instead. Oopsies! During a war council, they talk about how all the other princesses don't talk to each other and one of their kingdoms are being attacked. So they need to go deliver supplies. They meet Princess Perfuma, and you can probably tell where this series is going. Gotta catch 'em all, gotta catch 'em all. Princesses! Okay, I'm gonna be straight with you. I watched season 1 of She-Ra when it first came out, and I wasn't all that impressed. And I never watched past season 1. But everyone, that being Billiam, told me that it gets better. So I decided to do this video in order to just force myself to watch the rest of the series. And because of that, I'm going to smash summarize season 1. I will say that rewatching season 1 made me realize that I was very harsh on the first season. I mean, I'm guessing I was just in a bad mood and hoped She-Ra would help, and it just wasn't what I needed, but the humor in this show is solid.
Yes. Healing! That is a thing I know how to do. I just need to take Bo and Glimmer over to those trees for a moment. I know what I'm doing! I don't know what I'm doing!
They teach Perfuma to get off her butt and defend her home instead of hoping someone else will do it for her.
Join the rebellion and help me reform the Princess Alliance.
Shadow Weaver releases shadow spies to hunt down Adora and bring her home. Next is securing the Sea Gate, and they need a captain, and they meet the hunk that is Seahawk.
Because I can tell you're wondering, my mustache is naturally shiny.
Shadow Weaver is sending Catra and Captain Scorpio, and now may I introduce you to my favorite character. They make it to Mermista's kingdom, and it's kind of deserted.
Ew, who let him back in here?
It's been too long. I have dreamed of you night and day since we parted.
Simp?
Everybody fled because the gate is falling apart or whatever.
Adora gets to fixing that gate, but it's gonna take some time. Guess who's here to make things difficult? Ha, Kitty and Scorpio. Is every fight that Catra gets into considered a cat fight?
This is what you left me for? Dress-up games and a light show? When did you get so weak?
She manages to fix the sea gate, and now Mermista is part of the crew. And Seahawk.
Okay, I'm in.
Really?
I want to help fight them. Plus, your friend over there can turn into a 8-foot-tall lady with a sword.
8 feet? What? Okay, wait. Why do I like that so much? Next, we got Entrapta, who is a NEET that stays inside building robots with super advanced tech. She also hacked the first one tech, and now it's a sci-fi thriller. I appreciate how they didn't go, the Horde is attacking, and instead opted for, my robots are attacking. You gotta mix it up a little bit, you know? The sword is first one technology, so She-Ra gets infected too.
Sound activates the robots.
Okay, I'm gonna take a nap now.
No.
You know, is She-Ra's sword just technology? Or is it like a blend of magic and tech? You know, like Magitech. Because if it's 100% technology, then that would mean magic doesn't really exist, and it's all just like technology that we just don't understand. And if that is the case, that makes theory crafting really fun. This time, Bo is the hero and manages to fix everything. They still have that disc though. We'll probably see that again later. Shadow Weaver summons a big ol' monster. Glimmer's aunt is apparently a high sorceress, so that's neat.
Wait, Glimmer's dad was your brother?
Adora, do you know what aunt means?
No, I was just hoping someone would eventually explain. What happened to her?
Light Spinner. She sought power and complete control above all else, and she was cast out.
They're putting an odd amount of emphasis on this one woman who is also a sorceress that turned evil. You know, that reminds me of someone, but I just can't quite put my finger on it.
They don't understand you, just as they did not understand me when I walked among them as Light Spinner.
Right, that makes sense. Ah, man, I almost had it too.
They've been kind to me. Something you never were. You never loved me. You just played your twisted mind games. I'm none of the things that you say I am. This is who I am. You hurt my friends, so now you're gonna pay.
We may not get a new princess to join the rebellion, but we definitely got a big moment for Adora's character. They get invited to Princess Prom, so now we can talk about that one scene that every person latched onto. Is Prom the setting to have queer scenes? I didn't realize how we got one from She-Ra, and we also have one from the Owl House. Can we make this a trope? I'd like this to be a trope.
How did you get your claws on this?
They sent it to me. I'm a princess.
You're a princess?!
The Horde crash landed in my family's kingdom. My family gave Hordak our runestone, the Black Garnet. Oh man, I thought everyone knew.
Wait. Why didn't she have a hard time in Hordak's army? I mean, what did Scorpio think when they were teaching her, who is a princess, when they were teaching her that princesses were the bad guys? Was she just kind of cool with this? I still hold the belief that Scorpio's dress is the best one.
I have to agree with you on that.
They start trying to figure out what Catra and Scorpio are doing and thoroughly mess with her. They're planting explosives, or melting crystals, or something, maybe both. And now it's time for the dance, and Catra makes her move and starts messing with her head even more.
But then again, maybe it already has. If I wasn't busy trying to stop her, I would have totally made out with her.
Adora isn't taking it, but she also broke the rules, and she's in trouble. Oops, turns out Adora isn't the bad guy. Turns out the angry 11-year-old has some neat powers and fixes things up. Catra makes it out of there with Bo and Glimmer and her sword. Ooh, turns out that was her plan the whole time. Adora plans to go into the Fright Zone and get them back. Somehow. And the princess pals are ready to help.
We go on 3. Ready? 1.
Forward!
Since this is their first mission, it's not really going well. Hold on. Were you just going to fully accept her dead only 1 second after she fell and that's your reaction? Seahawk, come on.
Report to the Force Captain Barracks and pack your things. Now that Adora is back, there's no need for you there.
We can see whose mommy's favorite child is. Yikes, Catra got it rough. Glimmer ends up saving herself, and then saves Adora. Then Entrapta gets killed. Catra decides, you know what? This gig sucks, and gives Adora her super special sword. Glimmer can't teleport after Shadow Weaver messed with her powers. Oh yeah, turns out Entrapta is fine. Catra tries to convince her that Adora isn't coming back for her and wants to join the Horde. And again, the whole princesses are evil thing isn't really holding.
You rebuilt that robot all on your own while living in the vents?
Sure did. Who knows how much more powerful she could be if I just had access to a little first one's tech. You know, advanced technology left behind by a lost civilization makes our modern innovations look like children's toys.
Catra goes to hunt down the first one's tech Entrapta talked about. Adora finds it too. She finds the hologram, starts asking some questions, but she has some trouble getting the robot to give the right responses.
Let me talk to Light Hope. That's her name, isn't it? The woman I saw when I touched the sword for the first time?
Before she gets what she needs, Catra messes everything up. Now she needs to figure out how to get Catra out of there. They find a hologram room that brings them to the Fright Zone, but it's their memories.
And why would you try and pick a fight with Octavia anyway? I didn't do anything.
And present them start bonding again, and it's super cute.
Hey, I miss you too.
What? I don't miss you. Get over yourself.
And now Adora learns that Catra has been insanely jealous of her ever since they were kids. And even though it was very obvious, seeing someone in private, how they feel, it creates a much stronger connection between that character and the audience.
You have never been anything more than a nuisance to me. If you ever do anything to jeopardize her future, I will dispose of you myself. Do you understand?
Jeez. Catra got some trauma. And this back and forth between Adora and Catra having it go back to when they were kids just shows how long these feelings have been festering. How they've grown, but inside they're still kids. They've been holding on to all of this, and now their feelings are finally coming out.
Why do you think I gave the sword back to you in the Fright Zone? I didn't want you to come back, Adora!
You leaving was the best thing that ever happened to me. I wonder what I could have been if I'd gotten rid of you sooner.
Please don't do this! Bye, Adora.
I really am going to miss you.
Adora, you must let go.
Now Entrapta has a data crystal and can make the Horde new weapons. And the horse can talk now, and also can sense where Adora is at all times. I'll admit, this wasn't what I was expecting. At least now Glimmer and Bo can help.
This seems to confirm my theories about the techno-organic nature of First One's machinery, resulting in thaumaturgical compatibility between magic and science!
Oh, so it is Magitech, but also fused with organics. I wasn't expecting to get an answer. That's really nice. Now Adora gets to talk to Light Hope and get answers, and talks about the First Ones were space travelers, and she's a champion of the First Ones.
The princesses are granted power over the elements through their runestones. It is your duty to bring the princesses together.
Okay, so the plan is exactly the same as it's been. Bring the princesses together. This is all starting to sound a lot like Kingdom Hearts now that I think of it. But we gotta find runestones so Entrapta can hack the planet?
There was one before you who could not let go. Her name was Mara. You are distracted by your attachments. She struggled with a power that she could not control until it became too much for her mind.
Is that Adora's mom? Wait, no, that wouldn't make sense. Adora is the first She-Ra in 1,000 years. I guess that's not actually possible. And Shadow Weaver is upset that they're using her Dark Garnet, and Catra gets to finally have some revenge. Now Catra is in charge. And Entrapta does a really, really good job with the First One tech. It's kind of affecting everything.
I'm not Mara. I'm not the She-Ras of the past. My attachments, my friends, are a part of who I am.
Yeah, screw Light Hope. Don't let go. Double down. Okay, well, I guess she's letting go of her guilt, so she is doing what Light Hope said to do. Okay, never mind. Catra decides, you know what? Now's a great time to take Bright Moon's runestone.
I've been trying all these years to mold you into someone more like me. This was your father's staff. I think it's time you had it.
I'm going to focus a lot on Adora and Catra, but you should know that Glimmer gets a lot of focus too, and she becomes a great character in this show. Now it's time for Catra and Adora to duke it out. I really like how they made Catra the villain. I thought she'd decide to join Adora and friendship. But no, she sunk even deeper and is now a solid, rounded villain, at least for right now. Catra is kicking their butts, and Adora has no idea how to help. That is until Seahawk and Mermista come to help. Actually, all the princesses come to help too. Now Adora got special powers again and fixes that runestone and everyone's runestones. Wow, okay, so her power really is her friends. This is really turning out to be Kingdom Hearts. And they all touch together and deliver the final rainbow blow to sweep away the Horde's attack, saving the day. Also, can I just point out that Bo is glowing just like the princesses, and Seahawk isn't, because he isn't a princess, which means that Bo is a princess. And Catra's attempted conquest impressed Hordak, and now she's second in command. Okay, season 1 ended better than I remembered. I'm starting to think I never finished watching season 1 when this released, but I am so glad I am returning to the series. And Entrapta is still working for the Horde? She still has no idea everyone thought she was dead, okay? This is actually getting good. While Adora is training, Catra finds her and starts fighting again. Well, nope, it's a simulation. At least she can transform the sword into new stuff now. The real Catra is training her old friends. Catra is sending so many robots to distract the princesses that Bo suggests they need to study and create a kill switch. And while they're busy with robots, Hordak is getting more territory. And Entrapta has been making improvements to her robots, saying it's powerful enough to rival a princess with first one tech. But there's only 4. Okay, I know Entrapta is supposed to be a genius, but even then, that's really cool. And it doesn't do a bad job.
Come to yell at me some more?
Sorry, I don't know how to act. I've never had any friends before.
I know how you feel. I didn't have any friends before Bo and Adora.
You?
I guess you remind me of me.
And this is what I really appreciate about She-Ra. They give these characters their own spotlight, each and every one of them. And they build each of them to where each of them have something about them that we can love. And it really helps create the bonds in their team, which is important since it's not really very realistic to have just everyone suddenly get together and, get along. A team dynamic needs to have some conflict in order to make it believable. As with the robots, sadly Catra is very smart and will not let them have their technology to study, leaving them in a difficult situation. And by working together as a team, they figure out how to combine their powers so that they can get inside its guts, so it's all good, and weird magic stuff happens when they work together. Also, Shadow Weaver is in a cell now. Harsh. Now that I think about it, when I first watched this show, I think I wanted to be like Voltron. I was just really looking for something similar, and She-Ra just isn't it, and I'm thinking that's why I was so upset with it. Now that I'm coming back to it, I'm learning to appreciate it for what it is rather than what I wanted it to be. Bo jumps into the robot, sees that they use first one tech, and connects 2 and 2 together and realizes Entrapta is alive. And then the guilt hits. And Light Hope is sending Adora and Swiftwind to rebuild a watchtower so that Light Hope can stop glitching and give her more information. All the while, Bo and Glimmer go solo to rescue Entrapta. And for some reason, they decide to ruin their element of surprise. Why? Okay. Should Glimmer really be in charge? She does that on an extraction mission? And that's seriously impetuous. And I know they did that to make them fight and add more time to the show, along with a lot of other things. But realistically speaking, Glimmer needs to be kicked down a peg. They also managed to catch Catra. Good on them, I guess. Well, good on Bo, since he knows what he's doing. And he tried to stop Glimmer from jumping out and attacking because he knew it was a terrible idea. Adora and Swiftwind find the watchtower. Catra sends a tracking signal. They gotta let Catra go because they think they'll kill Entrapta if they don't.
Just hang on, Entrapta. We're going to rescue you.
Rescue me from what? All of my stuff is here now, so probably I'll just stay.
Are you on the Horde's side now?
I'm on the side of science!
Wait, is she just not gonna get upset with how Bo and Glimmer didn't come back for her? That was like the whole reason she decided to stay. Catra convinced her that they didn't come back because they didn't care enough for her. I mean, her wanting to stay in order to advance her research definitely falls in line with her motivations. I'm not saying it's bad, I'm just saying, no, wait, maybe this is better. Entrapta is now a major source of conflict in the story. and the writers needed her to stay there in order to maintain that conflict. They needed Entrapta to find a reason to stay so that they can continue. Oh, dang, that is smart. She-Ra and Swiftwind fixed that watchtower, by the way. Entrapta sees Hordak doing some experiments, and she decides, while he's busy having a temper tantrum, she'll work on it instead. Well, this can't be good.
You're experimenting with portals?
Portals aren't theoretical. They're real, and I'm going to open one.
You could transport troops and weapons, whatever you need, from one side of the planet to the other.
You can't begin to understand the potential a device of this nature will possess.
Okay, yes, that's bad. However, portal jumping to other planets is really cool. I am okay with this. Adora and the gang find an old First One antenna for sending messages, and they're trying to figure out just what it was used for. You know, besides sending messages. And they get a scrambled message. They also have an episode where they play D&D, because D&D is cool and fun, and you should play it because it's fun and cool, and because I really like it. And I am currently the DM, but I used to play a sorcerer. I just think it's not as hard to jump into the game as you think. And this episode also has a lot of references to the original series, but I'm skipping over it because they just aren't that important. I'm just saying.
I have a lot of negative things to say, and I hate flowers.
It's a rare First One's artifact. The last time I deployed it, it ended up infecting all of my robots with some kind of murder virus.
You know, I'm not entirely sure, but when I first watched She-Ra, and everyone thought Entrapta's voice was annoying. But now I actually like it. I like it a lot, actually. It's possible that it's only because, you know, it became a meme and a sound on TikTok. I think at the very least you can agree that the voice is perfect for the character. Regardless, can I just say how impressed I am with the writing of this show? I totally forgot about that First One tech that messes with She-Ra's sword. The fact that they are revisiting that detail is surprising to me, because I was more than willing to just throw that detail away and just assume that, the technology's lost or something or whatever. That is twice now that the writing of this show has impressed me. Then again, I'm used to covering shows that are episodic and don't focus on an overarching narrative, and that the series is only overarching narrative, and that, I guess I shouldn't be that surprised. Or maybe this is just a sign that I should cover more Netflix series. And maybe you should check out my Patreon, where I have monthly stickers and trading cards, and you can see my videos months in advance. Links are in the description below. While the Horde is hunting Tech, She-Ra finds and confronts them, knowing they can't be up to anything good. Catra does exactly what we expect, and now She-Ra is going crazy and fighting her own friends. Okay, can I just say, quick aside, I'm really happy that this show decided to dabble in bioorganic technology. It's an area of future tech that's not often explored. Scorpio gets the sword out of her hand, and now Adora is captured. Also, there's some big monsters, so that's an issue, I guess. And their eyes look like how She-Ra's does when she goes berserk, so they're also infected.
Think you have one more teleport left?
Scorpio ends up having to destroy the disc to make them unberserk, and now Adora is better, and Scorpio learned to be more independent and believe in herself. I can't tell if this episode was made to get rid of loose plot points of the berserk disc or to introduce a bug monster that are also First One tech. Also, Entrapta got that special tech that they were looking for in the frozen tundra, so another point for the Horde. Hordak wants Shadow Weaver banished to the Beast Island, and Catra really wants to keep her. Shadow Weaver asks for her old Sorcerer's Guild badge to look at one last time. Shadow Weaver's character is more complex, but not unique, discovering that she delved into forbidden magics in hopes to protect everyone from the Horde, only to eventually be cast out from the guild for delving into said magics, and having no choice but to join the Horde because, well, where else are you gonna go? It's not unique, but it does help flesh out her more and explain how she became who she is.
Why did you treat me the way you did?
Because you remind me of myself. Nothing was ever easy for me either. Why should it be any different for you?
I was a child when you took me in. I am nothing like you.
Ah, but you are like me.
You don't know what you're talking about.
You're being pushed out. I want you to go further than I did.
Then help me.
I will try.
Please don't. Don't be emotionally manipulating Catra like this. You and I both know that she is incredibly susceptible to emotional manipulation, and I am just not ready to see her get a whole new slew of hope only to have it be stripped away from her. I was not expecting this strange mother-daughter dynamic between them to go even deeper, and I am not ready. Also, Catra gave her the emblem, and to no one's surprise, she uses it to cast a spell to get her out of there.
Which is ours, or? You were just using me all along.
Man! Catra's character is so good, it hurts. Remember that message that Bo found? He figured out what it says, something to do with Serenia and Mara and the previous She-Ra. They find an abandoned library and we meet Bo's dads. Turns out Bo has been lying to his parents this whole time, saying that him and his friends go to an academy.
All historians just like us, and just like Bo when he graduates and takes over the library, right, Bo?
Also, this has nothing to do with the message that I found. Remember when I said that, every character in the show gets a spot in the limelight? This is Bo's. They also have a runestone shard, which I feel shouldn't be in a library. They give them everything they have on Serenia, so they can figure out what or who it is. The lie doesn't last long when they get attacked and Adora needs to do her thing. Turns out the big bug monsters are protectors of the shards, so that's neat.
What's breaking our hearts is the fact that you thought you had to lie about who you are.
I think the best part of this show is that they really understand that the majority of the best character development and conflict comes from the interactions between the characters. Especially interactions between characters you have a strong connection with. Like Bo lying to his dads, or, Catra and Shadow Weaver, or Catra and Adora. All of these are specifically designed to be as complex as possible. We, as an audience, are not supposed to be certain about how we feel about each and every single character, and that's a good thing. And that is where this show really shines. In essence, there isn't really a wrong answer for whether or not you are on Catra's side, or Adora's side, or really any character's side, except Hordak. He's really the only one that's not complex. Looking at the message, they start realizing that those scribbles aren't words. Serenia is a constellation, and Serenia can only be seen in the Crimson Waste, a massive desert. Hordak finds out that Catra lost Shadow Weaver, and that is actually where season 2 ends. Just on a big cliffhanger. A lot developed in just a few episodes. And you can really tell there seems to be a lot more direction with this season than the last one. Now that the foundation of everything has been set, it can only grow to become more complex. I know I'm using that word a lot. There's a lot of shows that want to just start over every season. New villain, new evil scheme, new adventure, but I prefer the setup that this show is working with. Make every character fleshed out. Let each of them have their own motives, and balance how all of that plays out in the story. It doesn't start over, it just keeps going. Hordak really only serves as an endgame. Until Hordak is defeated, the show does not end. And with that, the menagerie of motivations and schemes from every character can continue to change. Pardon me. It's a very dynamic approach to writing, something that I don't really see much in animation. Shadow Weaver finds Adora and promptly collapses. They put her in prison, because of course they would. Catra is in a cell too now, and at least Scorpio is still her friend.
How did you get in here?
Again, Scorpio is my favorite character.
Caring about people is what got me into this mess. What? Are you stupid? I said leave.
Catra. Come on. You cared about someone who doesn't care about you. There's a difference. Don't go hurting Scorpia's feelings, not after she just flung a guard from 10 stories to break you out.
I was just like the rest of them. I have to believe that the others can change too. Even Shadow Weaver.
I smell a redemption arc coming. And I also smell that the writers are intentionally leading me to believe this, only to flip it around on me that, and she actually won't be redeemed. I don't know what to think, actually. Oh my gosh.
You're dying, aren't you?
Okay, so Shadow Weaver is going to pretend to be reformed to get them to help her from dying, and then turn on them when she's better. Maybe. Adora promises to heal her, somehow, in exchange for Shadow Weaver answering their questions. And Shadow Weaver actually teaches Adora about magic and how to hone her powers in order to heal her. Having Shadow Weaver be the teacher for She-Ra is so obvious, and yet I never thought of it.
I have nowhere left to go. I want to take them down. Hordak cast me aside.
Okay, there's one problem with that. You're still a wanted criminal. Don't you need to, go to jail or something? Shadow Weaver tells them about Hordak making a portal to bring the rest of his army to conquer the world, and she explains that Adora comes from a different world when Hordak was trying to experiment with portals all those years ago. Adora goes to Light Hope for her to explain, and Light Hope creates a projection that shows where Adora came from and shows her how Hordak stole her.
They made the sword so that it would only respond to one of their own kind.
I'm a first one?
Well, yeah, you can read First One language. How have you never connected 2 and 2 together?
You aren't listening to me! Don't I get a say in what happens to me? Don't I get a choice?
You do not choose. You were chosen. Adora. It is happening again.
Again? Wait, if this is the same thing that happened with Mara, then why would you repeat the exact same mistake? I swear, some people just don't understand teenagers.
Take a lesson from this. This is what happens to failures.
You're the failure. You need me, because you have no idea how to run this place.
Well, I mean, she's not wrong. Catra is being sent to receive First One Tech in the Crimson Waste, where they fully expect her to die. Surprisingly, in the Crimson Waste, there's a restaurant for some reason, even though this was supposed to be abandoned. All these rough and tough guys didn't get the memo, apparently. There's also this big muscular person named Huntara that they decide isn't all that terrible and decide they want her help. And she leads them to... Turns out Hordak's armor is holding him together and this planet isn't really cooperating with his body.
You wanna know what I am? I am a clone! Prime cloned himself, building an army to conquer all he saw. But there was a defect in my cloning, and defects are worthless to Prime. When my portal opens, I shall bring forth my brother's armies to crush the rebellion. I am not a defect. I am worth.
I was wrong. Hordak isn't just an endgame anymore. My gosh, this show just keeps on giving. Entrapta built him an exoskeleton armor using First One Tech.
I acknowledge the work you put into this. It is very technologically sound.
Are they making Hordak likable? He conquered planets and helped kill countless people. If they plan on going down this route, that's not gonna work. Also, the gang gets out and finds them. After defeating all of them, Adora finds out that Huntara was part of the Horde and defected, ever since she's been hiding in the Crimson Wastes.
What I saw in the Horde scared me. And if you're trying to stop the war, then I will do what I can to help you.
And Huntara leads them to Mara's ship. They find a keyhole and it activates a hologram recording showing Mara. They went to Etheria to study the planet's magic, and she glitches, but mentions something about Light Hope and a weapon. Mara opened a portal to an empty dimension and pulled Etheria in to hide. She saw visions of destruction and thought this was the only way, and Mara begs to be left alone, to not go searching for them. Catra is also there having a ball in the Crimson Wastes, really coming into her own here. And then Catra finds Adora and crashes the party. Now Catra has what she needs to prove her worth to Hordak, but Scorpio proposes that maybe they don't go back. You know, she hates it there, and this is like the first time she's ever been happy. But when Adora tells her that Shadow Weaver went to Bright Moon, her deeply seated mommy issues rise, and she decides, nah, I'm definitely opening a portal and letting the Horde army in. Because we all know revenge is more important than happiness. Now Hordak has the sword, and Entrapta realizes that's basically all they need to open a portal. Glimmer goes to Shadow Weaver for help, and she says that if she lets her out, she can tap into Glimmer's runestone, and they can teleport directly into Hordak's sanctum. Epic dark magics ensue, and Glimmer, along with the rest of the princesses, teleport away, exactly as planned.
Catra.
Do you know what happened to me after you escaped? Do you even care? But you came back for Adora. We're going to open that portal, and then there will be nothing left of you or the princesses.
Entrapta has been running some simulations, and turns out if they open a portal, they'll end up unhinging time and space and erase them from existence. Catra doesn't care. She has her own plans, and banishes Entrapta to Beast Island. And Catra goes to Hordak and lies, telling him that Entrapta let in all the princesses, and he fully believes it. No, but Entrapta was his friend. Now he's gonna have issues too. Oh, okay, more issues. Pardonnez-moi. Okay, wait. I don't care. It's Hordak. The writers are doing this to make sure Entrapta joins the rebellion again. Aren't they? Right? Catra opens the portal, and it turns back time or something? Now she's back to being a Horde soldier, and Catra has no memory of everything that happened, and neither does Adora. Not only that, events have changed. Now she's defeated rebel insurgencies, and she's getting visions of the true reality.
Dang it.
Well, that's not all that subtle.
You know, I don't know what it is, but I do not like you. It's just like this gut feeling I have.
Okay, so it's not only Adora. They start realizing what happened, and Adora reasons that the sword is inside the portal and needs to find it. But that's going to be a problem with reality collapsing. And then somehow Madame Raz from forever ago is there and tells Adora that there's still time to fix everything.
This happened before. With Mara. I've been so afraid of becoming another Mara. Destroying the world the way she did.
Mara saved the world, and so will you.
She goes to Bright Moon to try and get Bo and Glimmer, but they aren't believing the fact that reality is falling apart. Luckily, Bo and Glimmer start getting their memories back too, so that's not an issue.
This is perfect, my love. But it's not real. I miss you so much. But Glimmer needs my help, and I can't stay with nothing but memories.
They find Entrapta, and luckily she's smart enough to just figure out the unstable portal. She doesn't have memories, but she knows what's up.
It's your sword. That portal is centered on you. It's following you.
As reality collapses completely, she's finally able to see the sword in the eye of the cosmic storm. But Angela decides that she's tired of staying behind. She's tired of letting Glimmer be the brave one. And so she flies into the cosmic storm, reaches the sword, and she pulls it out, not letting Adora risk her life to fix this mess.
For the honor of Grayskull!
Adora reaches the true reality and uses her sword to destroy the portal, the instability crumbling Hordak's intersanctum. And now Adora knows that Catra is beyond saving. And before they can celebrate, Adora has to tell Glimmer that her mom is now gone, crushed in the realignment of realities. Now, Horde Prime has their signal and knows their location. Man, Season 3 ends with so much promise. I'll be frank, after all that, I wasn't expecting Angela to be given her own spotlight in this moment. And there were so many moments, not just Angela, but just about everyone is given a powerful monologue. Now, I know I said that making Hordak into a good guy isn't going to work given his history, but I do know it can help build his character. So long as he realizes he was wrong, wants to change, and nobody truly trusts him because they shouldn't. Nobody forgives him, but they allow him to help simply because Hordak Prime is a bigger threat. I am a little concerned with the direction, however, given that the end of each season keeps getting bigger and bigger. If there's not a conclusion soon, I'm scared the scope of the story may become too unmanageable. It's not getting massive, as I've seen with some other shows, but it's still something that concerns me. Glimmer is getting ready for her coronation now that her mom is, out of the picture. I'm assuming there's been some time in between this season and the last season. Well, at least I hope there's been some time. Apparently they gotta go on a quest for Glimmer's coronation and,
There's some mention of a Bright Moon Guardian that we'd have to subdue.
Oh! Glimmer! Recharging would mean taking the Moonstone's full power for myself. Admitting that she's really
fully gone.
She learns to fully connect to the Moonstone, and now the power is wholly hers instead of split between her and her mom. All the while, Hordak has just been waiting around for Horde Prime, and Catra decides to steal his tech to put him in his place. Catra decides that, you know what, now she's the one in power. Catra keeps getting better and better. They go back to the Crimson Wastes to get Mara's ship, but the Horde took it first. Also, there's someone who can shapeshift into people. Ta-da! Bo uses the Horde badge to reverse engineer its tracking and finds where Mara's ship is located. Catra and Adora fight, just as usual. Perfuma starts lifting the ship out of the ravine while everyone else is busy. Surprisingly, Catra is actually feeling guilty about how she threw Entrapta under the bus. Oh, this is unexpected. And the more it ruminates, the more angry she's becoming.
Stop hovering around me, just back off. I don't need to explain myself to you.
I know that Catra is a great character and is an even better villain, but out of everyone, I want her to be redeemed. I usually hate stories that redeem villains. However, clearly she's constructed to be an empathetic character. However, I know that there is a chance that I either expect her to be redeemed, since that would be a logical conclusion to her character arc, or I want her to be redeemed because I empathize with her way too much, and I just want to see her feel better because it'd make me feel better. A kid managed to tear down a Horde operation and asks to join the rebellion. Turns out it's not a kid, it's that shapeshifter person. Now every mission they're sent on, the Horde ambushes them, and it's causing serious problems.
How does the Horde know our every move?
I hate to suggest it, but could they be tracking She-Ra?
Glimmer goes to Shadow Weaver, hoping that she'll know enough about Catra to help them fight. But Shadow Weaver wants Glimmer to use her latent magical powers. Shadow Weaver wants to teach Glimmer.
A secret outpost! But if Catra is tracking She-Ra, she'll know we're coming and clear out before we get there.
Her attention will be focused on Adora.
Are you suggesting I use Adora as bait?
So, Glimmer goes in solo. And she doesn't do all that bad of a job, all things considered. Until Catra activates a bomb bot that's powerful enough to level half the woods, and then Catra gets stuck. Whoopsies. Glimmer deals with the bot, so it's all good, and Catra gets saved by Double Trouble. Adora starts getting upset with Light Hope. Ever since she saw Mara, Light Hope has been saying that Mara was unhinged. It doesn't really add up. She didn't look unhinged.
It must be hard being stuck in here all the time.
Not when you come to visit me. This memory should have been purged per directive of the Heart of Etheria Project. Delete.
I know she said we're not friends anymore, but she didn't mean it. There was a lot going on. There was a cannon.
Putting aside the fact that Scorpio is clearly in denial, where are the Scorpion people? I've only ever seen Scorpio and her parents now. Hordak is having trouble developing weapons given that they don't have Entrapta. You know, the sole reason they were being so successful. But Hordak still believes that Entrapta is a traitor. Scorpio has been keeping Entrapta's robot friend Emily secret, and turns out that's where a lot of her recordings are. Scorpio is starting to realize she misses her, and her friend group has disappeared. All the while, Glimmer is getting a little dark, threatening grunts for more information at the risk of possible torture.
I really don't!
I think you do.
Glimmer, stop!
Emily also has the recording of Catra betraying Entrapta and framing her, and now Scorpio knows the truth and can't continue her string of denial, no matter how much she wants to hold on to her old friends.
You broke the recordings?
I asked you to do one thing, and you completely ruined it. That's just what you do. I mean, how can you possibly be this useless? You're a bad friend.
Ouch. That hurts me right in my soul. I was wondering when Scorpio was going to get her spot in the limelight. Literally everyone except her has been given it. And we're on season 4 out of 5. I was wondering if we'd ever get some time for Scorpio. And not too surprisingly, Scorpio plans to rescue Entrapta from the Beast Zone.
The Horde knew we were coming. They were ready for us. We thought they were tracking Adora, but she wasn't even there today.
There's a Horde spy somewhere in Bright Moon.
Oh, wow. I guess Mermista is the only one with a head on their shoulders. They start going over what everyone was doing, and they slowly find inconsistencies in their stories, like how certain people weren't in places when others say they were. Adora and Glimmer have a little heart-to-heart where Adora slaps some sense into Glimmer, saying, hey, maybe you shouldn't make all these decisions by yourself without telling the people you trust most. Oh my god, what is wrong with you? A lot of season 4 is Adora and Glimmer fighting, and it gets pretty tiresome. They set up a trap for Flutterina, sure, or Double Trouble, and they figure out they're the spy. And they tell them that the Horde plans and is currently attacking Selenius in order to take control of the seas, and that they're already too late. Catra catches on that Scorpio left, only now it hurts different since this was her fault, and now she's alone. Again. Also, you remember that old woman named Raz? You notice how they keep touching base with her, but never really expand on her? Turns out she did know Mara, and still does, because either she travels through time by accident, or she has some serious case of dementia or something, and frankly, I can't tell which.
I know we're doing something to the planet. I don't know all the details, but I know it's big.
She-Ra protects Etheria. Your people made the sword, but they did not make She-Ra.
In the ruins of the first ones, Adora finds a data crystal that belonged to Mara's ship. Raz remembers that Mara wanted to warn Adora that there's a great evil at the heart of Etheria that's waking up. And in Raz's memory, we see what happened to Mara, and how her people used her for the Heart of Etheria project, what the sword is truly used for. At Mara's ship, Adora inserts the data crystal and sees Mara's last message about how Light Hope was corrupted by Mara in order to prevent her core programming, how Light Hope lied, and how Mara activated the heart of Etheria and how it would end up destroying the world.
Activating portal into the dimension of Despondos in 3, 2, 1.
The project was to siphon the magic from Etheria and turn it into a weapon before she hid Etheria into a pocket dimension. For all the slow pacing and tedious bickering between Adora and Glimmer, it all gets made up in this one episode. She tells all of them about what will happen if the weapon is activated. Dang, that's gotta really suck. Not only are they losing a war, but now they have to deal with the destruction of the world, and I thought I knew what it was like to be stressed. And surprise, Scorpio shows up to join the Princess Alliance. Okay, gosh. Okay. Here's what I'm guessing is going to happen. Scorpio is going to tell them they need to find Entrapta. They rescue Entrapta, and then Entrapta figures out how to redirect the energy of Etheria into a weapon they can use against Hordak Prime. Let's see if I'm right.
Are they laughing at me?
I think if you let them sleep, everything will be fine.
Everything isn't fine. Scorpio would be here if everything was fine.
I'm actually surprised they keep finding new ways for Catra to go more and more off the deep end.
Everyone's at risk unless we can get Entrapta to shut it down.
Entrapta has a habit of exploding everything she touches.
Oh gosh, that's right. Okay, yeah, I guess maybe my theory may not pan out.
Why can't you trust me in this?
Because you're wrong!
I mean, he's not wrong. Frankly, Glimmer has been in the wrong literally this whole time. She was a great character. I wish they didn't need to throw her under the bus like this. Bo and Adora sneak out because Glimmer is getting a little bit crazy. Swiftwind turns on Mara's ship, and now they stole Mara's ship. And they just tell it to fly them to Beast Island.
Let them go. If they don't trust me, I don't trust them. I'm going to figure out how to access magic at the heart of Etheria and how to use it.
Beast Island ends up being a dumping ground for First One Tech, and it gives off some strong science fiction horror vibes and a surprisingly few amount of beasts. Turns out Adora can't turn into She-Ra for whatever reason. Oh, wait, they disempower the main character? It is a science fiction horror. A hunky magic man saves them, and it's King Micah? Okay. That was definitely a twist I didn't see coming. But at least now it makes more sense why they have a voice actor for him during flashbacks. I guess they planned this to happen for a while, maybe? I'd hope? Turns out King Micah was exiled because the Horde couldn't kill him. Not sure how that works. I feel like if you can exile someone, killing them would be easier.
This place is a mass of ancient tech, and something at the center of that island never stops signaling. Exposes your vulnerabilities. It pulls you.
Wait, you're telling me that there's First One tech that's still functional? How good were their batteries? I mean, this had to still be sitting there for over 1,000 years. And it still works even when corroded? I mean, like, put that into a Tesla or something. Hang on, when Micah finds out that Glimmer has been being taught by Shadow Weaver, holy crap, what is he going to do? They do the classic, oh no, all hope seems lost, and the reason she can't use her powers is because she's given up hope on herself. But then she remembers what's truly important, and the promises she made, and by focusing on what's important, she gets her powers back, kind of thing, you know, that kind of thing. Spider-Man went through it a few times, you know. And when they find a beast robot, they also find Entrapta. Glimmer, on the other hand, goes to Light Hope, telling her that she's willing to use the magic at the heart of Etheria. And Light Hope goes, oh, okay, well, I guess I can't rely on She-Ra, so I guess I can trust you. And they need all the princesses together for the final piece. And turns out they need Scorpio too. Remember that she's a princess? I didn't think that she'd be the linchpin to all of this, but apparently she is. I'm glad they never forgot about that little tidbit. It feels like all of this, literally, all of these seasons were all planned. The story is so cohesive. Double Trouble escapes and tells Catra that She-Ra isn't at Bright Moon, meaning it's unprotected. Entrapta found out that the First Ones made the sword to control She-Ra, because She-Ra is the only one strong enough to withstand the power of the raw magic in the center of the planet.
I figured out the truth. You had Catra send Entrapta to Beast Island. You really had me going. So scorned by Entrapta's betrayal.
Ouch. Rub salt in the wound, why don't you? I mean, I know you're telling him because this is you betraying Catra, but come on. He had one friend and you're being pretty cruel. Oh, wait, Glimmer hired him to do it. I mean, Glimmer's the cruel one? No, Hordak is still the enemy. That's fine, I'm confused now. Hordak confronts Catra and is super angry, but then again, when is he not? I guess you could say they're having a blast. But Catra is still Catra, and Hordak is still only pretending that he's in power, so it probably wasn't a good idea to pick a fight.
People have hurt you, haven't they?
They didn't trust you.
Stop it!
Didn't need you. Left you.
Maybe they're not the problem?
It's you. You drive them away, Wildcat.
Scorpio and Glimmer sneak into the Fright Zone and connects to the Black Garnet, you know, her Princess Stone. And her power is unlocked, and all the princesses are attuned to the planet. And oh no, it's happening, isn't it? Adora goes to Light Hope, and turns out Hordak never took Adora away. Light Hope did that just so that she could fulfill her programming. Light Hope initiates a portal to move Etheria out of the pocket dimension that Mara put them in.
Adora was right. Light Hope used me.
Yeah, no duh. Good work, Glimmer. You're working your way to being the worst character. Okay, not a bad character from a writing aspect. However, from the aspect of the audience, she sucks. She's a lot like me. I'm not really able to admit that I'm wrong until I've proven that I've messed up. I need to prove it to myself.
Mara sacrificed her life to stop this from happening.
Mara was a traitor.
She knew you were more than just a program. And so do I!
Adora does the only thing she can, fights the powers controlling her, and destroys the sword. Light Hope, now able to think clearly, thanks Adora before vanishing. Glimmer gets abducted, and now Horde Prime is here.
Why can I not see your thoughts? You tried to create an empire of your own. There was even a time you wished I would not come for you. I did it. All of it. For you.
Horde Prime does a weird Dragon Ball Cell stab and knocks him out, planning to redo him. Also, Catra is there, and tells him about the planet being a super weapon, just so that they stay alive, and so he doesn't destroy the planet. Okay, so my theories about what was going to happen did not pan out, which is good. Typically, I want my theories to be wrong, because that means that the writing isn't predictable. Not only that, but it sets up a solid, we have a common enemy and need to work together kind of trope, which is an easy and very useful way to get all the characters to work together, and not only work together, but also force them to talk to each other and force them to find an understanding. And I have no doubt this is exactly what was intended. And they didn't try to reform Hordak. So I'm pretty happy about that. Also, if you made it this far into the video, comment, Adora can pile drive me any day. And don't add context. If anybody hasn't finished this video and they see all these comments of the exact same thing, don't explain it to them. I want to see people get confused. Hang on, how old is Adora in the show? 17 to 18 years at the beginning of the series and 20 to 21 years old by the end of it. Okay, cool, so I don't need to feel creepy saying that. I still feel creepy saying that. Whatever. Feel free to comment it if you want to. I just think the joke is funny. Adora is getting weird visions now. Everyone is hiding in a cloaked bubble to stay out of Horde Prime's eyes. And they still got Entrapta. And just as I said, Shadow Weaver and Micah aren't getting along, but they're working together. Everyone is trying to figure out a way to reach space so they can save Glimmer, since for some reason she can't teleport.
How's it going, princess? You may be on the other side of this force field, but you're as alone as I am.
Catra is in an awkward spot since she's trying to convince Horde Prime that she's necessary and is trying to work with him, even though she's not crazy about the idea. They ambush and capture a clone to interrogate it for info.
She is with Prime on his flagship. She is chosen, basking in the light of Prime's favor. He who brings the day and the night.
Okay, we get it.
Yeah, he's not all that useful. Adora leads everyone to this one place full of magic that she's seen in her visions in order to better hide everyone. A weird light comes from outside her tent and another She-Ra ghost appears. It leads her to another vision, and Adora is having a hard time coping with the fact that she's no longer She-Ra, how she wants to have that feeling of a destiny again, and she comes to realize that regardless of destiny, she still needs to try, regardless of not being She-Ra. I thought this would be a big She-Ra is not the sword, She-Ra is you moment. And it sort of is, but also really not. And then Horde Prime comes again, and they gotta evacuate again.
This part of the ship is off limits to you, Catra.
You called me Catra. None of the other clones do that. Hordak.
It is wrong to have a name.
It's good to see a familiar face.
And then Catra and Glimmer start bonding because they're both lonely. And Catra finds a teleporter, so that'll be useful. A lot of the first half of the final season is establishing just how messed up Horde Prime is, and how he seeks to quote-unquote purify his clones and seeks quote-unquote peace, and it all feels like a big mix of a cult and, well, something else, I'm sure. Catra has her back against the wall. They know Adora is coming, and once Horde Prime has everything he needs to use the Heart of Etheria, Catra will be useless, and there will be nowhere to run once he gets the weapon. She either has to help Adora, or she has to let herself be discarded by powers beyond her control. Catra decides, you know what, okay fine, helping Adora and Glimmer while we're at it, and breaking out. She brings her to the teleporter, she needs Glimmer gone so Adora doesn't come, and Catra isn't really willing to forgive herself yet, so she's not coming.
Adora? Catra? I'm sending Glimmer to you. I don't know your exact location, but I can get her to your quadrant.
What's going on? Glimmer is with you?
Don't come here, no matter what.
What is...
Just listen! Adora! I'm sorry!
They rescue Glimmer from space. Glimmer apologizes for being a big dummy dum-dum. They land on a planet to get some crystals to refuel the ship and meet some strangers. They find the crystals they need, but the planet is collapsing and they're inside it and they can't leave without it.
I am not going anywhere.
Was that magic?
There's the She-Ra is not the sword, She-Ra is you moment. I was wondering when that was gonna happen. Now they have new friends to help them with the fight against Prime, except this is the only time you ever see them and they are quickly forgotten. Oh my gosh, Adora wants to save Catra. I am so shocked. She lets herself get captured. On the other hand, Bo and Entrapta find a clone that disconnected from the hive mind, and now he's having a crisis, and they kind of just use him.
Can you take us to the server room?
I would be honored to serve one who is a beloved of Horde Prime.
Turns out Catra has been Hordified. Glimmer destroys the server. Adora breaks the mind control device on Catra, at least a little bit.
You should have stayed away. I don't matter. You matter to me.
But Prime decides to self-destruct the device before she has a chance to be rescued, but Adora has suffered worse falls. And Adora gets pushed over the edge and decides to show Hordak the power of She-Ra, transforming into a new form, and begins fighting to escape.
You miscalculated.
Entrapta calls Darla, and now they got a way off Prime's ship. All things considered, this plan is actually going really well. Now, Adora and Catra are finally together, on the same side, and Catra starts getting the closure she needs and frankly deserves. One of the clones finds a first one tech and starts remembering Entrapta. Hordak is back, baby! I'm mostly happy about that because I know that they were going back to it somehow. I mean, they hinted at it a lot.
Just drop me off on the closest planet. I'll make my own way. I can take care of myself.
Wow, okay. I guess I can't expect people to change that fast.
Do you care? I know you all hate me. I never hated you.
Catra, you had that whole conversation with Glimmer. You went through all this trouble to help them. When are you going to realize that you're the one that's wrong? Turns out Prime's ships are tracking them, even though Mara's ship shouldn't be trackable. Weird. Not sure how they could do that. It's not like Catra has a Prime mind control device still lodged in her neck. Also, the citizens of Etheria are being mind controlled too.
It's like all his clones are connected to some kind of hive mind, and I was part of it. He can see me. But maybe I can see him too.
Catra starts seeing through the eyes of the hive mind and sees that the people are being mind controlled. Adora deals with the enemy ships while Entrapta removes Catra's mind control device. Entrapta gets Catra's device free and Catra apologizes for what she did. Baby steps. Good, Catra. I'm proud of you. But Spinnerella got one now. Oh no. But Natasha figures it out eventually. But not before basically everyone in the Resistance gets mind controlled too.
Horde Prime knows you're coming. There's a trap. A blockade you'll never make it through. You need to stay away.
Luckily, the clone they adopted talked about Prime having a weakness, and it's a place called Krytus.
The logs say Lord Prime retreated from this planet?
And to say that this place is weird and creepy is an understatement. And they're being followed, and that thing can mimic voices and apparently phase through reality.
These are all illusions.
They end up making a magic polymorphing friend, and polymorphing friend explained that their planet was like Etheria, where the first ones tried taking their magic, and Prime doesn't understand how to use magic, and they realize Prime's weakness is magic. So, friend, I don't know, fuses with the ship and cloaks it, I guess. I mean, it works, it's magic, they don't really gotta worry about explanations anymore. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt my own video, but what is She-Ra? I mean, it made sense when it was a magic sword giving someone powers, but that's not the case anymore. Is She-Ra like a magical, I thought She-Ra was a magical protector of the universe, but is that really the case anymore? How is She-Ra chosen? Is She-Ra chosen or is it inherited? It seems to be only specifically from this one race that She-Ra exists. Without the sword, everything around She-Ra becomes very nebulous. Like, I understand if it's magic, but now at this point, we're just saying because magic isn't enough when it comes to who She-Ra is. They have some trouble, but they eventually catch up with the princesses who aren't being controlled. They sneak into the Fright Zone to try and save the other princesses, and turns out Prime is there too. Very, very upset that She-Ra has been helping people on Etheria.
I have no need for you. Not anymore. The technology of this planet is familiar to me. It will be child's play to bypass its defenses. and take the weapon at its heart for myself.
Well, I guess he's going to kill She-Ra now. She is useless now. No need to keep her around. They're gonna kill her now, right? Bo's dads finds another astrological map and finds out what that Mara was working with the rebels as well.
There's a failsafe for the heart of Etheria. It's at the Arxia outpost, but we lost touch with them a week ago. Mara bought us time, but it's too late for us.
Why would an ancient civilization add a big self-destruct button to a planet-sized weapon? This is just like the incredibly convenient hole in the Death Star. Just wait, they'll add another season and it turns out the first ones were actually working on another Heart of Etheria. Scorpio is about to kill them, but they do the "I know you're in there" thing and they manage to escape because of course they do. Natasha saves Spinnerella the normal way. Actually, since the trope of appealing to someone's inner self is so commonly used, I mean, maybe that the trope is the normal way now. Shadow Weaver figures out the failsafe is in Mysticore, but she still wants to use the Heart of Etheria as a weapon, so that may be an issue. Entrapta figures out those chips, if left on them for long enough, will fuse with the person and become permanent. It doesn't go well because of course it doesn't. Also, Adora is having trouble connecting to She-Ra, so that's also a problem. Not sure why that's happening. Entrapta gets captured trying to hack into the hive mind and finds Hordak, and he sort of remembers her a little, and he's conflicted now. They find the failsafe, and it turns out the failsafe is a code, which I guess is a lot better than a big red button or a hole, and they manage to access it. It says they need to bond with the failsafe so it can be carried to the Heart of Etheria. Catra starts getting real suspicious of Soulweaver, and she finally admits that Adora is the only one strong enough to survive bonding with the failsafe. She'll have to inherit all the magical power that's been stored in the planet in order to fix this, knowing that it may kill her in the process. Adora steps into the failsafe and takes in all the raw magical power. She has the failsafe, but Catra is getting worried. She just saw Adora choose to risk her life, and Catra is realizing how afraid she is of losing Adora. Catra even tries sneaking off in the middle of the night.
Don't listen to Shadow Weaver. This isn't about her. Why? Why are you like this? Why do you always have to sacrifice everything for everyone else? What do you want, Adora? I have to do this, Catra. I don't have to stay and watch it happen.
Wait, stop. Sorry, there's one problem. They destroy the Heart of Etheria. And then what? Prime will still be able to conquer the planet. The only reason they weren't destroyed in the first place was just because Prime wanted the weapon. No weapon, and there's no reason to keep them alive. How are they going to take down Prime after they take down the weapon?
I told you I'm not going back. Adora doesn't want me. Not like I want her.
There wasn't any reason to add this to the video other than the fact that it hurt watching and I needed someone to share in my heartache. Entrapta gets into another big server thing in order to get into the hive mind. And while going to the Heart of Etheria, the first one tech is still projecting memories, and seeing Catra messes with Adora's head, making her connection to She-Ra unstable. Somewhere, Prime is working on a machine that will acquire the Heart of Etheria. Catra realizes what's happening and goes to warn Adora. Adora is too emotionally unstable and decides she needs to go alone, leaving Bo and Glimmer behind, so she can complete her mission. Entrapta gets teleported away, and now she can't free the mind control devices. Catra doesn't know where Adora really is, so she needs Shadow Weaver's help to go to her.
He's hacking into the planet. All of this is from him.
We have to get back up there.
I love you. I love you.
Just as Adora is starting to realize her sacrifice may not be what is required for everyone, Prime finds her. Bo tries to finish what Entrapta started, but then there was Scorpio. Prime had found an old security monster strong enough to challenge She-Ra, and now Adora is struggling to maintain her form. Good news, Prime was a hologram. Bad news, this thing. But Shadow Weaver and Catra show up to distract the monster thing while Adora gets to the heart. Bo goes invisible and manages to finish up the work. Bo creates a channel to talk to literally everyone around the world, and he rallies literally everyone to fight Prime now that they aren't being mind controlled. They make it to the heart, but Adora refuses to finish it knowing Catra is in trouble, and Shadow Weaver is left with the heart. But it's okay. Shadow Weaver decides not to take all the power for herself and switches with Catra.
It's too late for me. I'm so proud of you, Catra.
Catra!
You're welcome.
They reach the heart, and Adora is still unable to connect to She-Ra. Adora is still willing to use the failsafe, but the magic will destroy her, and Catra tells her she's staying regardless. But before she can, Prime reaches the heart, and when Prime was ready to kill Entrapta, Hordak remembers and betrays him.
I am not your brother. I am Hordak.
And that would have been a really cool moment if Prime wasn't a hive mind and decides, screw it, let's kill everyone with the heart. I don't care anymore. And he starts destroying the world. Adora starts giving up, fading away. Catra stays to hold her and call her back.
It's too late. I failed.
Don't you get it? I love you. I always have. So please, just this once, stay.
You too.
With Adora's heart now settled and her connection to She-Ra re-established, the failsafe works. Magic returns to Etheria, and she emerges victorious, the light of hope shining where she stands. And with a power previously unknown, she takes down Prime's armada and gives life back to the planet. And she reaches into Hordak's mind and casts out Hor Prime, banishing his mind so that he may no longer infect the clones who have become a person of their own. If I'm going to be completely honest, I don't like calling a show perfect, but I have a hard time thinking of other words to describe this show. Everything I could possibly critique was addressed. The plot holes are practically non-existent. And I know someone is going to correct me and make me eat my words, but I just don't see any right now. I've never been so satisfied with the writing of a show as I am with She-Ra. Each season, the stakes get higher and higher without losing scope of how unmanageable it could possibly be. The motivations of all the characters made sense. All the characters feel fleshed out and real. The story is so coherent and connected. From a critical point of view, this show is fantastic. Heck, just about from every point of view, this show is fantastic. I have been told about the quality of this series, but only now am I able to say that I feel every person will enjoy She-Ra to a certain degree. But I guess it may not be too surprising given that Stevenson, the person who is credited for having adapted She-Ra for television, also worked on Bravest Warriors and Wander Over Yonder and DuckTales, and now Stevenson is non-binary? Or at least, you know, that's the best word for the sake of people who may not understand what trans-masculine bi-gender is, which is technically more correct. You should really go read their comic that they posted on their Twitter. That really helps put into perspective their experience. I decided to play it safe by sticking with calling them Stevenson, as the Wikipedia article does. But in all professional works, that being shows and comics and movies, he goes by Noelle Stevenson. She goes into more depth with her online comic series explaining the complex relationship between names and how the name he's been given never really felt right. And the more I read about Stevenson's complex relationship between who they are, I almost cry because it's like someone took the thoughts from my brain and then put it into words. And it is probably because I relate to the writer so much. That is probably the biggest reason why I like She-Ra so much. It's probably more because of the writer. And there is a strong fear in me that this video will age very poorly, since I'm kind of just using all pronouns as listed on Stevenson's Twitter profile, but I also read that in one of their comics that they're going by he, him pronouns more, so if that becomes like the new standard, then I want to say for all future people who are watching this, I'm sorry, but I feel justified in how I have approached it in this specific moment in time. So if you go into the comments and flood them feeling that you need to defend Stevenson, that is totally okay. I appreciate you. But yeah, Season 5, as stated by Stevenson, is intended to be the end of the story. The Netflix series is officially over. So the show ended in 2020, and if you're like me, and you thought that it's been over for a while now, you're wrong. We were wrong. We should have been watching the show the whole time. Now, the series was initially supposed to be only one season, and the fact that the show was so coherent throughout every season is really just major props to all the writers behind the show. But now I'm going to dive into the other works that Stevenson has created. Specifically, maybe Lumberjanes. And specifically, it's for me, not for a video. After this, I'm both physically and emotionally exhausted. She-Ra hit a little too close to home for me. I need a break. If there's anything I missed, or if there's anything that you feel deserves its own video, tell me in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this video, stay beautiful, and keep playing.